Man, Star Wars is in a pretty weird place right now. A week ago tonight, as I sat in the theater to watch, oh, and I apologize for not getting this video you guys early, I've been busy with life and stuff, so I'm sure you guys can appreciate, but as I was sitting in the theater a week ago tonight to see Solo, I saw the announcement on my Twitter feed. The Hollywood Reporter exclusive, James Mangold, director of Logan, has been signed on to write and direct a standalone Boba Fett movie. And I'm like, that sounds pretty cool. I loved Logan. That was one of my favorite movies of last year. I'm really excited for this Boba Fett movie now. But some of the reactions that have come out online have been terrible. A lot of people are saying, no, Solo was a bomb. We don't want this movie to bomb too. Solo was terrible. We don't want this movie to be terrible and everything. And I'm like, huh. And then I thought back, I'm like, man, The Last Jedi was pretty divisive. I could have done a video like this after that, but I didn't. So maybe I should do a video now talking about what Star Wars will look like in a couple of years and what I want it to look like in a few years. Because growing up as a Star Wars fan, again, not being super well versed in the canon and stuff, but just growing up liking all the Star Wars movies and stuff, minus the prequels, but Episode 3 was pretty good. Growing up loving the original Star Wars trilogy, I thought, yeah, Star Wars fans are some pretty cool people. When Episode 7 and Rogue One came out, I'm like, yeah, this is awesome. Everybody's together for a shared experience and everything. And then when The Last Jedi came out, people got divided a bit, and now that Solo's out, everybody's kind of like, you know, wishy-washy on their Star Wars fandom now. And some people just don't want to be Star Wars fans at all anymore because of how weirdly divided and how just kind of around the spectrum Star Wars fans are at this point. Because going into The Force Awakens, everybody was a Star Wars fan. Everybody loved the original trilogy. Most people didn't like the prequels, but some people appreciated parts of them and everything, which is kind of the page I'm on. I don't hate the prequels, but I do think that episodes 1 and 2 are bad movies, and episode 3 is pretty good, but not great and everything. But going into the new trilogy, everybody was super excited. The Force Awakens, I personally loved. I thought it was like the third best movie of that year. Some people were like, oh, it was too derivative of the original. It's like, whatever. Star Wars is back. It was an exciting ride. J.J. Abrams knew what he was doing. And then going into Rogue One, everybody was still pretty excited because, oh, it's a story we haven't seen before. New characters were pretty hyped to see how the Rebels got the Death Star plans. And coming out of Rogue One, everybody was pretty excited. Everybody really liked Rogue One. I thought Rogue One was like a little bit boring. I thought they could have put a little bit more focus on the characters. But when they reshot like 30% of the movie or something like that over the summer before the movie came out, like props to them for pulling that off. Then The Last Jedi came out. And apparently before The Last Jedi, like Kathleen Kennedy said, I love Rian Johnson. Like, you know, we have a great working relationship and everything. We heard about no onset issues, which was really cool. And then Rian Johnson was announced to be helming his own trilogy 2 months before The Last Jedi even came out. I did a video on that, I think, like almost a year ago now, about how Rian Johnson was getting his own trilogy, which is pretty cool. But then The Last Jedi comes out and everybody's like, no, I hate what they did with Luke Skywalker. I thought all this stuff would work really poorly, and I really liked The Last Jedi. I think the humor in it was pretty weird, but I do think overall it's a well-made movie. It feels a little bit un-Star Wars-y at some points, like the use of some verbiage and everything was a little bit weird to me, but I do think overall it was an entertaining movie, and I think that it posed a few issues going forward, but it also was it was a fun standalone movie that I really enjoyed. Solo, a lot of people were like, we didn't ask for this movie, we don't want to see this movie, The Last Jedi was so terrible, we're going to boycott this movie, and I'm like, what? It's a Star Wars movie, guys, we were so excited for Star Wars just a few years ago, why can't we be so excited for it again now? I went to Solo, I had a blast with it, I thought it was pretty fun. The reviews have been pretty mixed, a lot of people really enjoy it, a lot of people really don't enjoy it, most people like me are kind of down the middle, a lot of fun, has its issues, whatnot, etc., but the box office bombed for it. Like, here's the thing, bomb might be too strong a word, but the box office is a major disappointment. Like, people are kind of saying, like, oh no, it's not that bad. The domestic box office would be fine, right? $83 million over 3 days, like, whatever, like, not great and everything. $100 million over 4 days, not great, but okay. Internationally, those things doing terribly. Like, I don't know what the deal is, like, in international markets, but it's doing so poorly that it's going to lose Lucasfilm a lot of money, which is fine because the past 3 Star Wars movies have been doing well, but I think going forward, Kathleen Kennedy and the creative team are really going to evaluate how they make these movies, and that's just kind of what I wanted to talk about now that I've done, like, a 4-minute introduction here, and basically, what I see going forward is this. They've announced a ton of stuff. Basically, we have an Obi-Wan movie in the works with Stephen Daldry, the director of Billy Elliot. We have an Obi-Wan movie in the works with James Mangold, the director of Logan. We have a series for the Disney streaming service, showrun by Jon Favreau, director of Elf and Iron Man and The Jungle Book and everything. We have a trilogy of movies coming from Rian Johnson, director of The Last Jedi, and then we have Benioff and Weiss, the guys from Game of Thrones, working on a series of movies at some point in the future as well. Not to mention potential other offshoot movies coming at some point in the future. Here's the thing. Hearing all of the kind of weird divisiveness that's been ramping up, this is what I think. I think Episode 9 is going to come out in December of 2019, and it's going to do okay at the box office. Probably like $205 million opening weekend, maybe even $195 million opening weekend, which is not great, but I think it's going to crack $1 billion worldwide. It needs to have a big marketing campaign, but a lot of people, again, love J.J. Abrams' The Force Awakens more than any other Star Wars movie in the past few years, and I think people are going to go out and support him, assuming the trailers really wow, because the Solo trailers, they didn't wow that much. I thought the Solo trailers were pretty good, but I don't think they were great. They didn't blow my socks off like The Last Jedi or The Force Awakens or even the second Rogue One trailer did. So I think this needs to have a strong marketing campaign. If it does, it'll break $1 billion worldwide. It'll be another success. Disney will have rebounded from the failure of Solo. Okay, fine. But after 2019, where do we go? December of 2020, what movie's going to come out? I had a discussion with a couple guys a few weeks ago about what's going to come out in 2020, and a lot of people were saying it has to be the Obi-Wan movie. Here's the issue with that. Stephen Daldry, the director who's allegedly going to make the Obi-Wan movie, he's making Wicked for, I think it's Disney, and Disney is having Wicked come out in December of 2019, the same time that Episode 9 is coming out. And assuming he finishes like post-production and everything on Wicked around like, you know, September, October, the movie's done, completed by early November, and it's ready to go in theaters by December, he then has exactly a year to shoot, edit, oversee post-end effects, and release Obi-Wan, which is a very tight time frame since they usually start shooting these movies at least a year and a half advance. We don't know if there's a script out for Obi-Wan now. I guarantee there's a script somewhere at Lucasfilm, but it's not like an official script of any kind. Nobody's been commissioned to write a script. Maybe Simon Kinberg wrote one. Maybe Lawrence Kasdan has one kicking around somewhere. It's possible that there's one sitting on a desk or on a shelf at Lucasfilm, but we haven't heard about it. We don't know that it's officially happening. Lucasfilm hasn't announced anything. In the same way, like, the Obi-Wan movie, Hollywood Reporter broke that James Mangold's going to write and direct it. He's probably going to start working on that at some point soon if he hasn't already started working on it. But we don't know that it's going to go into production yet. We haven't heard an announcement from Lucasfilm. Here's a point of comparison for you guys. Basically, Solo was announced in July of 2015. That's when Chris Miller and Phil Lord were announced to be the directors. Lucasfilm announced at the Senate press release to everybody saying, guys, it's coming May 25th, 2018, get excited. And we're like, perfect. So that was 3 years or so in advance of when the movie was coming out. In theory, we should have heard what movies coming out in 2020 last year. Now, with all the drama surrounding Solo, I'm not surprised that we didn't, but still, it shows that Lucasfilm at this point is behind. So are they going to skip 2020 in its entirety? Like, what's going to happen? It's kind of weird to say. Now, assuming that Obi-Wan isn't the movie coming out in 2020, because I don't think it is given Stephen Daldry's schedule, and James Mangold could kind of get Boba Fett together by then, but if he wants to write a script and really kind of pace it out in his own time, I don't know if it'll happen immediately. I think Rian Johnson's trilogy is very possible, since he's already said, like, yeah, he's brainstormed a ton, he's already starting to write drafts of his scripts and everything. Given the divisiveness of The Last Jedi, though, I wouldn't be surprised if that doesn't happen. I do think since Rian Johnson's trilogy is set in a separate part of the galaxy that we've never been exposed to before, that could be some form of reassurance to fans, like, oh, he's not going to mess up the characters that we knew and loved and everything, and, like, you know, given his previous work, we could really like it. But he's been completely blacklisted from so many circles following The Last Jedi. So many fans are just, like, completely done with him and never want to see anything from him again and boycotting, like, all of his work and stuff because of The Last Jedi. So I question whether or not they're even going to let Rian Johnson's trilogy proceed forward. I think that they should, because, again, he's a very talented filmmaker, and there was no behind-the-scenes drama with him whatsoever. And I do wish that in 2020 we'd get the first installment in his trilogy, because that would be really cool, and a great break from the main Skywalker saga if we get a trilogy of his movies from then on. But again, knowing his reputation now with Star Wars fans, wouldn't be surprised if that trilogy doesn't happen at all, which would be a shame because I love Rian Johnson's work so much. So then that leaves the Benioff and Weiss trilogy, the series of movies that they're doing. And it's interesting they didn't announce a trilogy of movies, they announced a series of movies. And for that reason, I think their movies are going to come out on the Disney streaming service, because the Disney streaming service launches in 2019. That's apparently when Jon Favreau's show is going to start on the Disney streaming service too, like when the Disney streaming service, like, apparently first comes on, like, shortly after that we're going to get Jon Favreau's series. I think 2020, maybe 2021, Benioff and Weiss' series of movies are going to start coming out, and I guarantee on the streaming service, we get one movie a year on the Disney streaming service from Benioff and Weiss for like 5 years, because it was announced to do a series of movies. So if we get like a 2-hour movie once a year, every year from Benioff and Weiss, with like different diverse directors coming in every year, like imagine we like Ava DuVernay directing the first Benioff and Weiss movie in like 2020 or something like that. 2021, we get in like Reed Morano to direct the next one. 2022, we get in Ryan Coogler, his movie comes out, and over the course of 5 years, we get this amazing 10-hour epic written by Benioff and Weiss that feels like it's kind of a Game of Thrones-ish, more mature Star Wars story that, again, doesn't have to be contained to just 2 hours in one movie, or even 6 hours in a trilogy of movies, or be contained to just a PG-13 rating and go into a bit more adult territory on the Disney streaming service, which I think would be a genius move for them. So assuming their stuff stays on the Disney streaming service, assuming that Rian Johnson's trilogy, it might be on the back burner a little bit right now, given his reception by the fans, assuming James Mangold is just starting to get together his drafts of Boba Fett and his ideas for it, and assuming that Stephen Daldry is busy with his schedule, what comes out in 2021? I'm going to ask you guys that question. Let me know in the comment section down below. My likeliest guess at this point is maybe Boba Fett, since they had some ideas about that before Josh Trank was fired. But guys, I'm a Star Wars fan. I've been looking forward to every new Star Wars movie that's been coming out. It's a shame Solo didn't do that well, since, again, as I said, I thought it was a pretty good movie, and I think you guys should still go out and see it. But with the fan base divided now, it's just a shame to hear that some people aren't looking forward to new Star Wars movies, since they really do have the power to inspire and to really put like a lot of creative energy into new generations of filmmakers. I know they did to me. Guys, again, comment in the comment section down below. Go over to mymoviethoughts.com. Follow me on Twitter at John Megan. Subscribe to this YouTube channel for tons more posts from me. Links to all three of those are in the description down below. You guys can also like this video, comment on it, share it with some friends. I am John Hagen. As always, thank you guys so much for watching.